Hello everybody, this is General Blue speaking in post at the beginning. At this point during the stream, I did not yet tell people what the Necrovalley challenge was. I felt that it was important to wait until the first stage was complete for anyone who was watching and not familiar with this game, so that's why it sounds as if I did not yet explain the rules, and I felt it would be weird to not preface the first video since I uploaded the rule description first. That segment occurred after I completed the first world, so here's just the first mission in isolation. Alright, without further ado, let's begin the playback. You know, why ruin the suspense? So, starting off, I recommend sending Beaver Warrior out here into the woodland. Main reason being is because Beaver Warrior is most applicable to this upcoming fight. And then send Yugi up here. Fizdiz, the custom character they created, can go behind, because Horn Imp is notably faster than Feral Imp, as I said before. Immediately upon entering the forest, the first attack an enemy fired on me in this playthrough missed. That's a good omen. Anyway, this is the reason why I brought Shimon in here, is because Beaver Warrior gains a power boost here, so it makes it the strongest monster in this particular fight. I assume most of you watching are starting to notice the problem with this game, wherein... Hang on, I still got Discord on. Let me just close that now so I don't cause an issue later. You're probably starting to notice an issue where it looks like these fights can run for quite a while, because it's taking a good length of time just to take Silverfang down, and it's only one monster in isolation. It's looking like this is meant to be a 3v3 type scenario. And that's where we get to the part where this game really underperforms. The foundation of a great game is honestly here, but just due to the strategy aspects, it doesn't really work the way it should. Now that that's done, we send Shimon down here to feed on, I don't know. They're like these weird old ways of pronouncing town names. As you can see, Horn Imp has already caught up. The only reason it's not outpacing Feral Imp is because when their boundaries connect, it kind of pushes one back. So we got an enemy that's trying to attack. Now, the last team that enters a location is the one that is first in point for combat. As such, you can always just have your characters bop in back and forth constantly so that they're refreshed for the battle. In this case, I'm going to have Yugi's team take point because his team is a little bit stronger than Fizdiz. While you're in a base, your monsters do gradually heal. This is only really applicable because we only took really one hit against Silverfang, I think. Granted, it was our weakest monster, so, you know, if you don't want that thing to fall over, then you're gonna have to spend time to heal. But that doesn't really matter, because monsters respawn at the end of every stage, so, hey, it's no issue. And unfortunately, Karibo's attack missed. Luckily, Karibo's kind of weak, so it's okay if his attacks miss. Another issue with this game is, to know who's actually winning, you have to hold down the start button and see the point total. Okay, whoever wins a fight is determined by this point total. If you lose, well, you just have to wait 5 seconds before you can move again. So, declaring an attack gives you 100 points. The damage your attack does adds that point total. If you miss, your opponent gets 500 points. If you defend, you gain 300 points. If an opponent attacks a defending monster, then you gain more points. But if their attack is strong enough to pierce your guard and do at least some damage, you do still get... The attacking player does still get points for that. If you wait, which just passes your turn and gives you time to wait out the guard, then you lose 50 points every time you wait. And then there's items and magic you can use later. Those affect things differently. Ah, critical hit. Yeah, sometimes you can get critical hits, which increase your score a little bit more. Seems like a lot to go over, and I'm not gonna lie, it can be overwhelming at times. You'll notice yourself constantly pressing start to see what to actually do, if you should just defend or if you can wait it out, because there is a lot of strategy involved if you want to make sure that the opponent is pushed back and you have a bit of time to breathe. You'll find that in a lot of encounters, it's probably best to just take out a weak monster early on so that the opponent just doesn't have as many attacks available, and then you can wail on the strongest monster, because Hitatsumi Giant does have far greater stats than the other two monsters here, but it's a little bit too weak in the sense that it can't attack that many times. Something else I should note is when you defend or wait, that seems to make your next turn come up a little faster, but there isn't really an actual speed stat, so it's kind of difficult to figure out what is actually, like, enough time. And I think I should just have Horn Imp attack again, because I don't want to waste an attack that's going to take 2 and take this freak out. Horn Imp might not be a powerhouse per se, but this early in the game it might as well be. So yeah, even all those hits in rapid succession, it's still got half its HP remaining. That's mildly annoying, of course. But hey, we're gonna finish it off in a second. And I will let Fizdiz do the honors. In a lot of fights, your best choice is probably just to mash A and get it over with, because some of these monsters can feel like they're damage sponges. Their AI is not terrible, Depending on the game state, they will try and gang up on a monster to take it down as well. But it's not the most consistent. Now that that's done, all that's left is to storm the castle. So we had enough time for our monsters to recover. Let's space them out. Downside here is it's going to take quite a bit of time for our monsters to get over there. I understand that they have to make the maps kind of large so that you at least have time to react, but the problem is, well, as I mentioned before, this game is pretty slow-paced, and that's its biggest issue. I mean, this doesn't seem so bad. We're about to finish Stage 1 in only, what, 15 minutes? That's fine, right? Yeah, but there's only 2 opponents here. It's going to become a lot more complicated than that in the near future. Very near. Once the Hornet gets in position, we will be good to go. So, while I said before, we heal inside our bases, the enemy does the same between fights. So, you basically want to make sure that your guys all rush the enemy and that they don't have enough time to recover by any meaningful amount. My strategy is to start by taking out the basic insect, because it does a little more damage than you would think, and you don't want that to become an issue. That's another thing that's going to get on your nerves, is a lot of the times monsters will survive with single-digit HP. Now, oh dear. Actually just realizing how weak this thing's getting. Well, it's fine. If we take out basic insect, they've got no more attacks left. Yeah, the stars represent how many attacks the enemy has. Looking like this is going to be pretty easy now, though. I mean, the weak monsters are already about to go down, and the dragon only gets 2 attacks each fight. So really nothing to worry about. But hey, it's the first boss. It's supposed to be easy, of course. I'm going to have Kuribo defend just in the off chance this thing gets a critical, because you never know. That's something that can definitely ruin your day. But hey, it doesn't really matter, right? I mean, your monsters respawn at the end of every stage, don't they? Alright. Just guard. I don't think Kuribo's gonna do enough damage that it's worth the time. So it's difficult to tell exactly how long you have to wait until the guard would break. Basically, you have to assume it's when their next turn would be based on all the monsters' speed. But if they don't have another turn, you can't really know that, so you just kind of have to wait a few times each monster and then get lucky. And yeah, you can notice when an attack misses because the monster doesn't recoil back in pain. It's kind of funny when there's like a magical void, or just they breathe fire, and somehow your monster just stands through it completely unscathed. It doesn't really make a whole lot of logical sense, but hey, whatever. And Penguin Knight for game. Just like that, the first stage is over. Again, not so complicated, and Blackland Fire Dragon joined our army. We get some money, we get Monster Reborn, and 2 blue medicines.